leader, and I assure you he is well, and I thank God. He believes in God, and his spirit is high. He carries his weapons, and he kills with his sons on the front lines with the fighters. This is Muammar Gaddafi, who presents his life and the life of his sons as fighters and martyrs.
Let's get straight to Phil Black. He is in Tripoli covering the story for us. What do you make of this message from Gaddafi's daughter and the push into Sirte there, Phil?
Well, let's begin with the message from Gaddafi's daughter, Natalie. The Syrian pro-Gaddafi TV station has in the past aired messages from Gaddafi himself, from his son, from his spokesman, and now adding to that mix is Gaddafi's daughter, AISHA, who fled to Algeria when Tripoli fell. In this message, she follows the tradition of her family, if we're led to believe that it is all in fact them, in painting a fairly upbeat picture of the circumstances in which the Gaddafi family now find themselves. She insists that Muammar Gaddafi and her brothers are in fact still on the front lines of this conflict, fighting the revolutionary forces and making some progress. How true is that? Well, there have certainly not been any reported sightings of Gaddafi or his sons in the battleground, and it's probably a fair bet to say that if they had been there, we would have heard about it so far now.
Right, and certainly the NATO assistance has helped these forces as they've tried to move into the city center. It was a week ago you were telling us that they were still having a difficult time being able to take the city instead of just shoot from the outskirts of the town.
Yeah, there's been more fighting today around and within Muammar Gaddafi's birthplace. The battle for Sirte, as you say, is about a week old. It began back then with a big push into the city, and it hasn't been going well ever since. On that and after that initial push, they were met with fierce, committed resistance from pro-Gaddafi forces who were able to fire at the anti-Gaddafi fighters from within concealed buildings, small arms, rocket-propelled grenades, doing a great deal of damage, inflicting heavy casualties. And they since withdrew to the outskirts of the city, and from there have maintained some offensive action through the week, but they say that their big focus has been on helping the civilians that are trapped within the city. They've been trying to get them out because they fear that residents will be killed in the crossfire. Today, more advances into the city, more casualties. We're told there are at least 30 revolutionary fighters injured today. Will they hold this ground? Most likely not, because that's not the strategy they've been following. They go in, they blast away, and then at the end of the day withdraw to the outskirts to fight for much of the same territory again. As I say, it has not been going well, but the revolutionary fighters say that they're still holding back on some of their biggest firepower for fear of hurting those civilians who remain inside the city now.
The last Gaddafi stronghold, and certainly a fierce one to try to overtake Phil Black for us there live in Tripoli. Thanks so much, Phil.